Hello everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and today I'm going to show you a card using the Beary Cute stamp set. There is a matching punch, although I'm not actually using the punch in this card. I'll just move that over so you can see it punches out this bear. There are lots and lots of lovely things that go with this, including some papers. There are some ribbons, there are some memory and more cards. I'll show you a little bit more of those in another card that we're going to make on another video. But for today, I just wanted to show you how I've made this card. The other thing that I'm going to use in this video are these Deckled circle dies. Now, I know it might seem a bit silly, but I got ridiculously excited about a large circle, and believe me, this is large. There are lots and lots of them, but the largest one, they cut on the inside of the die, but the largest one is, let me have a quick look, about 5 3/4 inches across, or in metric, it is about 14.5 centimeters across. So it really is quite big, and they go down in decreasing sizes right down to this little tiny one here, which is, measure that one for you, this one's really cute. This one is approximately 1 inch across, or 3-ish centimeters. So really useful set of circles to have. I can see me using these lots and lots and lots. They're in the seasonal, autumn and winter seasonal catalogue. Yeah, so if you haven't already noticed these, take a look, because I really think these are going to be getting a lot of time on people's desks. So for today, we're going to be using these two. So this bigger one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th one in from the largest, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in from the largest, and you'll see why I've picked 2 different sizes in a second. So I'm just going to pop those on there so I don't forget to put them back. Okay, put those to one side. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be using this Beary Cute stamp set. Would help if I showed you the card, actually, wouldn't it? Okay, so this is the card that we're going to make. It's an easel card. This is some of the lovely DSP, and I'll quickly run you through some of that in a second. And it stands up using these little presents stamps, and again, I've got a little bit of a hack for those, so I'll show you those in a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to move the stamp set and the punch out of my way. Now, what I have done is I've prepared all the bits and pieces to make this card, so you don't have to wait for me to get up and down and use the die cutting machine and fussy cut and all the rest of it, but I'll explain as I go through. So the colours I've used in my card, there are lots of different colours in this paper. Actually, let me show you the papers. So there are 2 of each design. They're all double-sided. They're 12 by 12s. So there's this one, this one. I'm not very good at getting them out of the packet. Oops, the daisy. Help if I kept them the right way up, wouldn't it? I've already seen that one. As I said, there's 2 of each. Oh, this is one of my favourites. Look at that. Wouldn't that make a beautiful scrapbook page? And it's got lovely snowflakes, or stars, if you like to say, on the other side. What else have we got? There's this stripy one. Oh, I've already shown you the other side of that. There's this one with the trees and the little bears and Arctic hares, which has got trees on the other side, and actually that's the one that we're going to use in our cards today. Oh, and then there's this one, which is lovely blues and whites, and on the other side of that you've got the cute little paw prints and presents. So they're absolutely beautiful papers. As I said, 12 by 12, really nice weight to them as well. They're not speciality papers, so they don't have any glitter or foiling or anything on them, but as I said, they've got a really nice weight to them. So those are the papers, and in those papers, if you're never sure what colours are in your designer series papers. If you look on the back where it tells you the name, so this one, hopefully you can see that, is called Beary Christmas. So something Stampin' Up have done now is that a lot of the elements to a suite used to be called slightly different things, and that I used to find that confusing enough, but it was even more confusing for our customers. So what they've done now is that everything is called the same. So this is the Beary Cute stamp set, and this is the Beary Cute punch, and this is the Beary Cute DSP, which makes a lot more sense. Or in my world it does anyway. So in here you've got Balmy Blue, which is this one, and that's what we're going to use for our base card. You've got Crumb Cake, I haven't got that to hand, but it's a nice pale brown. Crushed Curry, which is this really nice yellow. Flirty Flamingo, bit of pink, that's on the red striped papers. Lemon Lolly, Misty Moonlight, which I've used, that's this one here. Mossy Meadow, which is a darker green. Night of Navy, Old Olive, which I've used, which is this one here. Pecan Pie, which is one of our new colours. Real Red and Very Vanilla. So there are a lot of colours that you can choose from in that card. What I've done on mine is I've used this side of the DSP, and so I've picked out the Misty Moonlight, the Crushed Curry, the Old Olive, and stuck with those. But as I said, you've got Flirty Flamingo, Real Red, you've got some Mossy Meadow, you've got some Night of Navy. So there's lots and lots of different colours you can pick out from those papers. So let's just pop those to one side so they're not in our way. If you hear an avalanche, it'll be the pile that's beside my desk that's nicely out of your way so you can't see it, and I've got a nice clear desk. But if I was to turn you slightly sideways, it is absolutely piled up. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut the bits and pieces, and I just wanted to give you a few tips for using these cards. I'm just rifling about for my scrap pieces. So basically, to use the size of the circle that I've got used to make an easel card, you're going to need half a sheet of A4 paper. Now mine, oh, sorry about that, that was the punch sliding off, and it's just hit the plug on my light, so we've just been plunged into not very good light. Okay, let me just see if I can put the main light on, not that that's a lot better. Okay, hopefully that'll give us a little bit of light to work from, and hopefully you can see. Right, so in order to use one of those circle dies to make a base, and this is the same whichever size you decide to use, what you need to do is make sure that you've got a piece here that is within the die. So if I put that back in there, hopefully you'll understand what I mean. And let's bring the dies back in. I'm really hoping that hasn't broken my light. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. We were 5 in, I think, weren't we? Yep, that looks about right. Okay, so what I've done is I've cut my A4 cardstock in half across the width of the card. So that gives me a piece that's 10.5 by 14.3. Okay, then what I've done is I've scored that at, 21 by 14.8. Then I've scored it at 10.5. And then what I've done, if I pop this back in, you'll see, when I've run it through my die cutting machine, I've left one part of the circle hanging over the crease. So that's the really important bit, otherwise you'll just have two nice circles. Hopefully you're getting the idea of this. So my die went over so that there is a gap here. So this is where the crease is on my cardstock. And I don't know if you can see that. Let me just see if I can hold it up to show you. Yeah, there you go. Hopefully you can see that. The edge of the die is hanging over the crease, and that's what you need to do in order to get it so it folds. Now that might seem a little bit wasteful. You know, if you watch my videos, you know I try really hard not to waste anything. But just snip this section off here, and these two sections here will work really well for mounting up greetings and things. So I always keep my scraps. Okay, and then what you'll need is you will need another full circle this time. So no edge cut off. Hopefully if I hold that up you can see that just goes over the fold there. Now to make it into an easel card, what we need to do is fold the top half of our card in half again. So bear in mind that it won't go to the crease line because you've left a little bit over, and that won't matter. Hopefully you can see that. And you can sort of line up the deckled sections. If I lift it up again, hopefully you can see it's just flapping over where the crease is. Okay, and that's because we need to stick our circle onto the front. So once you've done that, give it all a good burnish with your bone folder. So we've got a nice crisp fold, and I'm going to do that on the main fold of the card as well. And then if you open it out that way, if you open your card out, we only need to put glue on this bottom semicircle here, and that's how we're going to attach the front of our card. Now, for those of you that are sitting there shouting at the camera, you haven't stuck the front section on yet. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, so ordinarily, if I was making an easel card, I would stick my DSP onto this. But because I want to use this side, which has got a directional pattern on it, I need to make sure it's lined up. And that's why I haven't stuck that on first. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line the bottom half of my circle up with this bottom semicircle where I've put the glue. And you do have to look at the deckled edge, which the fact my light has gone off is really not helpful. So these dies, just in case you were wondering, go through 2 layers of card really easily. You'll notice there's a little section on this side here that's a little bit further in. There it is. Right. Okay, so just try and line it up as best you can. Obviously, bearing in mind we've only got glue on the bottom half. You don't want to put it on and then turn it over. Okay, and that makes our easel. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, and the card folds flat for postage. So the next thing we need to do is stick on our DSP. Now, this is why I said I didn't stick it on first, because I might not have got it right on this front circle. But by sticking it on second, I can see to get it right. Okay, so this is the other reason I use wet glue. So this time we want glue all over the circle, and this is the slightly, I think I said number 7 in from the biggest. This is a slightly smaller circle, just so we can see a little bit of our nice balmy blue. Okay, so not so worried about lining up the decals this time. What we actually want is it to be flat. Now, one of the tricks you can do to help you do that is to lay it flat on your grid paper and use the lines on your grid paper to help you get it level. Okay, I think that's about right, and we want it sort of central, obviously. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. So just give that a bit of a press down, and then that is the front section of our card. Okay, so then what we need to do, we need to make a stopper. Oh, forgot a point, forgot to tell you. On the inside of the card, you missed that bit. On the inside of the card, I've used the little snowflake. So that is this one here. And I've just randomly stamped in balmy blue on the balmy blue cardstock, just to give it a little bit of detail on there. So I just did that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to make our stopper. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've stamped some of the little presents. So I've used this one here, and then I've used this little one here. Now, because there's a punch that goes with this, obviously there are no dies, but they're really easy to fussy cut. And what I've done is when I die cut my papers, circles, my design series paper circles, this is the smaller circle we've just stuck on. You can see it left these bits here. So a little tip, if you're trying to make the little presents look like they're wrapped in wrapping paper, if you stamp onto the scraps of your paper, and there was a section at the top as well, you can see here where I've just cut it off, but you can stamp your images on top of this, and then when you fussy cut them, it looks like your little presents are on patterned paper. Just going to grab another one there. So that's one of the little ones. You can see it's got the, I've managed to get the tree in the middle there, and this one's got the trees on. So it just gives you a little bit of something. And then this one I've just coloured in using the blends, and this one's using Light Misty Moonlight, I think. And I've done the same with some of the others. So again, these two are stamped on the scraps, and this one is just coloured in with the blends, and they're just fussy cut. Okay, so it's a good tip to use up your scraps rather than just throwing them away. Now, to make the stopper, there's a reason why some of them are stamped out of the cardstock and some of them are stamped out of the paper. So this one's a cardstock one and this one's a paper one. And that, although this paper is a lovely quality and quite thick, it just gives a little bit of a firmer base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on there, and I can get away with large dimensionals. What I do when I'm putting them on something with a straight edge is use one of the straight edges of the dimensional against the straight edge to help me line it up. Okay, so that, I'm not taking the backs off that yet. So that's our cardboard parcel. And then what I'm going to do is use some of these others as well to make a stopper. So this time I'm coming in with my mini dimensionals, and always make sure you use your edges up. Get yourself a pair of silicone scissors if you don't already own a pair. They're Teflon coated, and basically nothing will stick to them. And then I'm just using those just to cut some of the edges. And these are the perfect size for the little parcels. So I've got a blue one and we'll have a little yellow one. Might as well use that one that I managed to get the tree in the middle of. I've just realised there's a couple of little dimensionals, or one little dimensional there. That will come in handy later. The good thing about using the edges is that you can cut them down as tiny as you need them. Okay, so that's that. And then all I'm going to do is I'm sort of going to pile these up, if you like. So I've got one of the DSP ones that's got stamps on, and I'm just going to add these little parcels. I'll be finding dimensional backs everywhere later. I'm hoping you can see. I'm going to have a play with my light. So that's one there. And then what we'll do, I think we will pop a large dimensional on this one. Just one in the middle. And we're going to just sort of make a pile of presents. Yep, I need a little one on the corner there, so this little one will do. So just work out where you need to put your dimensionals, just to get them to sort of look like the parcels have been stacked. Now, this one, I put it in the wrong place, but that will help us stick it to the base. And then I think we'll just have this little one here. I'll pop that one up there, I think. Okay. And then all we need to do is take the other dimensional backs off. These are the two big ones on our first parcel. Now, my brain doesn't really like random. Oh, I haven't stamped, have I? I'll do that in a second. My brain doesn't really like random. It likes sort of centrally and lined up. But we're going to put this to one side and you'll see why in a second. I'll just grab that little snowflake stamp out of the set. Well, I will if I can see what I've done with it. What have I done with it? I left it on a block. No. This is why it helps if you... oh, there, that's why. That's why it helps if you put your stamps back in the order that they were on. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in my balmy glue. Again, you could do any of the coordinating colours on this, but I just thought it might be nice to have balmy blue. And I'm just going to randomly stamp all over the inside. Again, I don't do random, so I find myself going around the edges. I'm just going to bring in a piece of scrap paper just so I can go off the edges without having to clean my grid paper, because my grid paper is laminated to make it a bit easier to clean and to cut down on waste with the paper. Okay, right. Oh, need one over here, I think. Yep, oh, one there. Okay, happy with that. So let's pop that away. And you can see I've just got randomly stamped snowflakes. You could use whatever image you want to use. Okay, so now we're ready to put our stopper on, and I'm just going to stand up the main part of our easel card where I want it to be, and I'm going to stick on the little pile of parcels we've made, and you can see that is stopping that already. But we need a greeting as well. With these kind of cards, if you wanted to, you could cut a white circle to go on the back for to write on, but the blue is pale enough, I think. So the other thing I've done is I've used the same stamp set, and I've used this Merry Christmas, which is a really nice font. But if I was to just stick it on like that, it's too big. So what we're going to do is fussy cut it. Sometimes I forget that you can fussy cut round a sentiment and it still looks nice. I sometimes spend ages looking for a punch that's the right size or a die that's the right size to die cut it, forgetting that I can just fussy cut it. If you're fussy cutting a sentiment that's come out of one of our red rubber sets, where you have to peel off the back before you stick it onto the label, what you can do is draw around the outside of the stamp. Once it's got the label on, obviously you can turn it upside down and draw around it, and that will give you sort of the outline of how the stamp is, if that makes sense. Which sometimes, if you're not very good at just following the line of the text, that can give you a little bit of a nod where to cut. Okay, so there's our little fussy cut sentiment. So remember, when you're fussy cutting, turn the cardstock, not your hand. Okay, and we just need a couple of dimensionals on the back of that, and that will also then help act as a stopper. So I'm just going to cut another 2 little pieces of edge. I'm going to have a piece there. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and another piece there where it's a bit wider. But for this really skinny edge here, this is where cutting down your dimensionals comes in really handy, because you can cut yourself a little tiny skinny bit to go along there. Okay, I'm just going to take the backs off those. Now this card would be quite a good one to do for mass production if you wanted to make a bulk amount of Christmas cards. I usually make mine in 10s, so this would be a really good card to do that with, because you could die cut your 10 bases, your 10 circles, your 10 design series paper elements, a ton of presents, and your 10 greetings, and then just sit and assemble. Okay, and that's just going to fit in there under there like that. Okay, and then just as a final thing, we've got these hopefully you can see, sparkly, they're called Faceted Gems Trio Pack, and you've got 3 colours in there. You've got this sort of aqua, a clear, and a sort of grey. I find my pokey tool is the best thing for getting these off. Sometimes I use the blade of a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to put just a couple on there just to add a little bit of Christmas bling. Can't have Christmas without bling, can we? We'll have a clear one, and we'll have a blue one. I'm just going to pop that up there randomly wherever you fancy it. Okay, so that's just those. I don't think you can pick up the shine, but they are sparkly. Okay, and there's our finished little card. So that's what it looks when it opens. Comes out of the envelope rather, and that's what it looks like when it's standing up on someone's mantelpiece. So I hope you like the card, and I hope you'll give it a go. As I said, I really would recommend those Deckled circles, because I can see those coming in handy for so many different things. We've had the Deckled rectangles for quite a long time, and we still have ovals, but I've really missed having a set of circle dies, especially larger ones. So that's really useful that the people at Stampin' Up have done that. So it will fit in a standard C6 envelope, but if you would prefer to put it in a square envelope, it will fit quite comfortably in a 5-inch square envelope. Or if you like to make your envelopes, obviously it'll fit comfortably in a 5-inch square if you've got an envelope making board. Okay, that's it from me for today. I'll be back soon with another video. sharing some Christmas cards. I hope you like the cards we've made today, and I hope you'll give it a go yourself with the circles. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Happy stamping!